Every year, Startup Grind hosts our SG Women Leaders Month, proudly recognizing the accomplishments of successful women leaders all over the world. These women are founders, venture capitalists, engineers, executives, educators, and more who represent our community all around the world. This month's SG Women Month is proudly presented by Google for Startups and Silicon Valley Bank.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
If you're listening, I think raise of hands, right? All right. Okay. All right. For this session, okay, I can see Goodness as your couple. Hi, good evening. All right, I need more raise of hands so that I'll know that people are actually here. All right, there are 2 raise of hands. That's good. Good evening, everyone. So welcome to today's workshop. And if you got the email, it's all about digital marketing. I know most of you here are either business owners or you're trying to go into business. And we all know that the world is going digital right now. Like every business is going online. So you would have to sit tight and listen very well because I've heard of Jos Tech Girls and I know what they can do, and I know that there are amazing women that are there. So we're going to be having Sonia, Atsen, and Esther Felix. And we're going to start with Esther Felix. She's a poetress, which is quite amazing and very, very cool. And she's also an email marketer. And we know that email marketing is actually very extremely essential right now for businesses. Like I don't think I've seen any business that's not going into email marketing right now. So please welcome our guest for today, Esther Felix. If you are around, don't be clapping your hand. All right, I can't see Esther though. All right, some people are still joining us, so welcome. I'm waiting for Esther. Oh, Sonia is here. Hi, Sonia. Good evening. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. She's one of our guests, and she's supposed to be speaking. So we're going to start with Sonia first instead, since it's content marketing. We'll start with content marketing and then go to email marketing. Can I have Sonia? Okay, I can see Esther, but I'm waiting for Sonia. Okay, I'm still waiting for Sonia.
Hello.
Oh, hi, I can hear you now, but I can't see you.
Okay, you can't see me. All right.
Okay, I can see you now.
Okay. So,
hi, good evening.
yeah, good evening. The network is a little bit crazy here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I can get you now. I think your voice is breaking,
Okay.
but I'm getting you now.
Okay, the network is really bad here too, but is it still breaking?
Yeah, I'm getting you now. I think it's breaking,
Okay.
but I'm hearing you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Good evening.
And it's a pleasure. Sorry, I was a little
You
bit
still
late.
no problem. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
thank you for joining us, and I know that you are part of Jos Tech Girls. So before anything, I would like you to introduce yourself and tell us more about Jos Tech Girls, so that our audience will be able to understand what Jos Tech Girls is all about.
okay. All right. Jos Tech Girls is actually a platform where we connect women in tech or women to be in tech in Plateau State. And how we've been doing that, we've been organizing seminars to to educate ladies so as to bridge the gap of tech illiteracy in the Plateau.
Okay, the network is
Hello,
really breaking. Okay, I
hello.
can hear you. The network was breaking a little bit. Yes, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can get you.
All right. Okay, that's really nice for the Jos Tech Girls, because I've been hearing a lot about Jos Tech Girls and what they've been doing, and they've been trying to make sure that not just the it's not technology is not just for the male people, it's also for females and everything. And based on our understanding, we are supposed to work on content writing today. And I know that content is very, very important for business owners when they are trying to sell their products and services. So first of all, I would like you
Yeah.
to just tell us how you got into content writing and how the journey has been so far.
Okay. I think I have been into content writing for the past 3 years. Like, if I can remember, 3 years. And the journey has been beautiful because I started from writing to say because I love writing, and it was more about what can I do with my writing to earn me something. And that was when I think I enrolled in a course, and so far the journey has been sweet. Like, that's just what I can see. The journey has been interesting. Every day is challenging. You get in there, you still, tech keeps changing. So so far the journey has been sweet and smooth.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So based on my own understanding, I understand that content is king when it comes to content writing. Like, content is king. It depends on how someone projects their content so that their audience can be able to understand, so that they can be able to understand their people can be able to understand their services and their products. So I just want to know, is there any content that you've ever put out there that was not received the way you wanted it to be received?
Hello, I didn't get the last question, the question you asked.
Okay, I said, is there any content that you've ever put out there that was not received the way you wanted it to be received? Like, when it comes to content writing, there are different contents and everything. So is there any content that you've
Yeah,
ever put out there that was not received the way you wanted it to be received?
sure. I have done that a whole lot of times. You've put your best, you feel it's your best, and then you get there, they tell you no, it's not good enough. And I used to say this to myself that no matter the rejection I get, I'm not going to stop. And I think that has
Okay.
kept me all this while, because every day will not be bright. So but so far the journey has, it has been rough, but the roughness has been, the roughness has made it a success story to say. So I have a whole lot of content that was not actually received by my clients, and then I had to work again. But it's fun. It's really fun.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, that's amazing. So I'm just going to let you have the floor and do your presentation on content marketing so that our audience will be able
Okay.
to
I think.
understand content.
All right. I okay. I'm not the one to take content writing actually. I think Esther would between Esther was is supposed to take content writing. Yeah.
Okay, so that is your specific email. All right.
Yes,
So
I'm
I'll
supposed to
let you
take.
have the floor. All right, I'll let you have the
Okay.
floor to present what you have.
Okay. All right. Um, I wish I could start with a video, but I'm not able to share my screen here, and that's by the way. So far, I used to say this. Most of the times, we feel digital marketing is just going to have a page, and then you boost it. Then at the long run, there are no content to go with it. And at such, most of the times we try to, we are not able to differentiate what content content writing is and copywriting, even though they look quite similar. um, they are not. So I think I will just give a very, very simple definition of what copywriting is. And copywriting is just
Okay.
a call to action writing, or a writing that you do basically to persuade your audience. You're not doing it, you just do it because you're trying to sell the brand. It's usually short, and it's straight to the point, and it has its own tune of language you use. I wish I could had been able to share my screen, and then, but I think the windows I'm using, it's really giving me headache here to do that. But as I was saying, yeah, I said I wish I could have been able to share my screen, but I found out that I can't do that because the Windows is rejecting it or something. So now we basically write copywriting or copywriting marketing for marketing's sake. You do it to advertise. You're not doing it, you do it to drive people. You do it to sell. And because of that, that has made it, it's a persuasive writing for those that know the kind of writings where we have the argumentative, the essay writing. And one of the things I got to understand with people is the fact that they feel content writing is those articles you write. Content writing is not article writing.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not just a writing; it's a writing with strategy. So you have to know the tune, your target audience. You have to adjust to the taste of or your audience. I think I was speaking with a friend just 2 days ago, and then I was sharing with him about a software I'm working on. And then I was so concerned about the customer relationship. copywriting deals more about the customer. It doesn't focus on the company, it does not focus on the product, but it focuses on your customer. I think one of the greatest quotes I so much love is by Steve Jobs, where he said, it's your stories. People there, the world is noisy. It's a noisy world, and it's just your story and how well you can bring it to your customers that will make you sell. People are seeing new products every day, but are you really driving them? Are you writing to them about what what concerns them? That's more about copywriting, because we find out that you're writing and then you probably you use large English, and then you're expecting me that I want to buy something, and then I'm seeing what you're writing, I'm not understanding it, I move to the next product. So am I having my customers at mind? If I'm not doing that, then it is not copywriting. So I think one thing I used to tell people, I said the primary purpose of copywriting is to sell. You're not writing for anybody to like it. You're not writing for people to come and say, wow. That is not your focus. Your focus is about, if you are selling, then it's a copy. But if you're not selling, I don't know what you're writing. And I used to say, when you sell, you're calling to action. So if your writing is not calling people to action, it's evident that it's not a great copy. And I think one of the videos I had loved to share was about Nick, Just Do It. And, it doesn't have to be long.
Yeah.
The greatest story ever told was just a 6 words. So
Wow.
yeah, just a 6 words, and it was just shoes here. I think shoes here. He was just trying to, okay, shoes. I think shoes here is with a full stop, and then he was like, baby's shoes, buy here, and it sold the market. People are not bothered about coming to see a very big flyer, and then you feel I'm trying to impress them. Your customers are not looking for that. What they are more concerned is are you just going straight to the point? Copywriting is just you're moving straight to the point. You don't write to impress anybody. And one thing there are basically 3 types of copies, and we have copy by collateral, by medium, and then by style. So what are copies by collateral? I used to call them copy by collaterals are your company, and they are the most a selfish kind of copy. So in a sense that what you're thinking is your company, it's just about your company. Imagine I just come here to buy a product, and instead of me, to tell you what this product would do for you, and then I start, okay, we founded the company, this is the RC number, I keep hitting around the bush. That is not a copy, and that type of copy is just, I call it should be your website. The truth is, if I'm coming here to sell a product to you, I have to tell you what this product would do to you, and then at the long run, I tell you, okay, you can connect with us via our website. It's short and then you have set your point, it's the person, and then the person can easily decide, am I buying from you or not? But you keep your customer, at the long run. He's already distracted, he is tired, and what he just feels is, this person is disturbing me, like, and then I'm not even ready to hear what you want to say. And most of the
Yeah.
times you find out that, yeah, you're writing a copy for people. I normally I am a freelance copywriter, and then I write for brands. So as I do write for them, you find out that some of them reject it and tells me that it's not carrying their company. And then I tell them, if you want that, have a website. Your website should do that, because what your customer is needing, it's not a bulky movie. He just needs something that is short, it's creative, and can sell. There's this favorite quote of mine that says, if it doesn't sell, it's not creative enough. The truth is, I have walked around people, and one of the reasons, they love to buy that copy is because it's actually, very interesting. So as I'm giving out a very interesting note, they just want to, buy it. But if it is not interesting enough, it is not it's not creative. Why do I buy something that is not creative? What will I do with it? And most of the times you find out that copywriters or content writers, most of them are just for the rush, for the money. And then you find out that the long run, you're not selling. Imagine you pay me $100, to write a copy for you, and then at the long run, you didn't sell even one. I believe that you kick me up and beat me up. You get it? Like, you just beat me up and tell me, go to hell, because the primary purpose of my writing is to sell. And if I cannot sell your product, then I'm not writing. I think I'm just entertaining myself. And one of the most
Exactly.
effective ways, right, to write a great copy is putting yourself in the shoes of the consumer. I remember when we had to, write sometimes during the lockdown. I was to write for a tobacco company outside the country, and they sent the sample of the tobacco. Imagine, I don't take tobacco, but they
Oh,
sent me the sample that I should, I should test it. I
right.
should feel the experience. If you're not actually, for
Oh,
you to
wow.
write a great copy, you have to share in the experience of,
Yeah.
of your consumer. So they said I should test it. I was like, I got the thing, and then I was in the room. I just sat down, and I was just thinking, okay, if I even light this thing up and then my dad walks in, what would I tell him? That was the first thing that came to my mind. Like, what would I tell this man? I'm testing tobacco to sell, or I'm testing it to do what? Because my dad would just they would call family meeting. I think that's just the ending part of it. But I had to sit
Yeah.
down. I have to think. I have to make research. How does someone that takes tobacco feels? And the
Yeah.
truth is, when you're writing a copy, you have to have the first draft, the second draft. Sometimes you have up to 10 drafts, because you're trying to make it short and interesting.
Mhm.
Um, as a freelance, I use Fiverr to sell my works. I wish I could had been able to share my dashboard. And I think, most people, we feel there are no jobs, or we feel we are women. I used to tell my brother something. Most of the time when he misbehave, I would say, see, I'm a lady. I'll just marry one man, and then he'll bring my food in the morning, in the afternoon. But what about you? You get it. So, but
Yeah, it's true.
practically, the truth is, I wish I could have been able to share my dashboard, which I have here, but unfortunately, I'm not able to. Then I will have shown you a platform where, as a freelancer, I've been working with. And the truth is, I think even though I really had not been earning until during this lockdown, I sat down, settled my life, and then at the long run, I think I was having about a whooping fee of about $500
Wow.
for some jobs I've done. And basically, it was just copywriting. But I could strongly remember 5 years ago where, you know, I was begging people to, 3 years ago, I was begging people to, please come, let me write a copy for you, free of charge. And nobody took me interested. So the truth is, for you to be a great copywriter, you have to keep writing. You cannot achieve that in a day. I believe Ivy, when she comes to share her experience, she will tell you how writing is not easy. I think sometimes I prefer to go with my coding than pick writing, because writing is a little bit, it's just, you just have to keep doing it. You send, the person says no, you do again, again and again before you get the perfect thing. but but it's great. Actually, growing up, I don't want to be limited. The truth is, if you want to be a great writer, a great copywriter, you have to forget that you can't be limited. You just have to go straight to the point. Nobody is going to limit you. Your creativity is what sells for you. And I think here, I drew a comparison between three products. And I think there was one, I said value one, value two, and value three, while I had organic yogurt. And then I think I had organic yogurt, shoes, children's shoes, and then tech. Now, in the first value of organic yogurt, as a copywriter, let's say you want to write for a brand of food. This is a clue. Firstly, you have to be honest. I think as I was sharing the fact where I had to, write for a tobacco company, and I don't take tobacco.
Yeah.
I think that was the
Mhm.
best copywriting I've ever done, because I think
Wow.
they paid about $300 for that job. That was the best copy so far I have written. And the first truth is, you have to be honest, especially when it comes to a consumer product. So the
Mhm.
first value is honesty. And then the
Yeah.
second value is, you have to be friendly with your consumers. And then the third is, you have to be principled. You're going straight to the point. You're telling them, okay, if you take this yogurt, what do you get at the long run? What are the benefits of the yogurt? So you have to be principled. And then the second thing, I think the second one was for shoes, children's shoes. I believe that when you're writing for kids, it has to be, you have to put the fun first. If you're not putting in fun, one of the reasons I believe back then we used to watch, is it Indomie Mama Too Good? It's short. I believe back then, every day, anytime this ad gets to run, I think I tell my mom I want to eat Indomie because of the phone. And then when I'm taking it, when I'm eating the Indomie, I want to dance like them, even though I can't dance actually. But I want to dance like those kids. So I believe that when you
Yeah.
want to write for shoes, a children's shoes, you have to show something that, okay, this is a child using a shoe. And then, mind you, sorry to say this, sometimes copywriting is not just, writing on paper. It, it could be videos, it could be audio notes. So you're not just writing on paper. I think that's the commonly misconception about copywriting, because we feel it's it's just writing on paper because it's called writing.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It can be a video. I wish my best clip, I wish I could have been able to share that video. And it's just about putting these things, like, you have to go straight to the point. You don't have to come and tell them, I remember when I was growing up, I had shoes, I had a bulk of shoes. Like, it has to go very relevant. Then the second value is you have to be practical. Okay, you're talking about children's shoes. How practical is our children's shoes? What do children do when they wear their shoes? And then you have to talk about the economic value. I believe that most of us here are from Nigeria, and you would agree with me that if you wear slippers now as a child, the slippers your parents bought for you, and then you went out and you just caught it for 1 week, you get beatings. Your mom will deal
True.
with you. So if I'm going to write a copy, I have to let my audience know, okay, the thought value you're getting for this shoe is that it's economical. What is would a child wear it, and then from going out, you get the things. So that is how you create clients for yourselves, or customers for yourselves, that are willing to buy. And then the last thing, I think I talked about also an IT company. The truth is, the first value you have to give those people is your are your is your software knowledgeable? And it's how important it is it to their organization. Just as I've said, I'm working on a software, and as a software developer now, I think the first questions I used to ask myself, aside, sometimes I try to blend my writing and the IT world. So how knowledgeable is my software to this company? And then how reliable is it? Is this software reliable? Like, can hackers get into their software? Okay, after I've handed over everything, what happens if someone walks in there and then it gets knocked up? Is it reliable? Because the truth is, if you're coming to sell anything to me, I have to ask you how reliable it is. The truth is, one popular thing I know is, we don't have privacy enough, because our phones are telling us, no, you can't have privacy again. But is this software reliable? And then how proactive is the software? Is it something that I'm working on and then it will just get to hack itself? And I believe that since I started, nobody heard me said, I am coming from this company to say this. I think I went straight to the value. I would still quote Steve Jobs, and he said his primary purpose for Apple is the value he's given. There's this short art I used to watch about, you know, a marketer in from the Apple firm, and then one from, he said he's PC, and then the Apple firm just gave him one blow because he asked him a question. Okay, what does your computer does? And then he started. You remember when we started the company? It was not easy. Everybody knows that when you're starting something, it cannot be easy. I used to tell myself, if this thing is easy, I don't even want to do it. I love
Yeah.
challenging things. So if you're coming to, you're coming to sell to your customer, and then even though your primary purpose is to make everything, simple, but if the efforts you're giving to make it simple, it's not enough, then it's not reliable. It's not it's not just okay. Or if I'm hiring you now, just as I've said earlier on, to work on a product, and you I paid you, and you can't sell anything. I remember one of my teacher would say, most of you are, as a software developer, you're just running to open website because you're a web developer now. You start working on plenty websites for your friends, your family. You just keep his website now, it's your knowledge, it's good. But the truth is, what value is that website adding to them? Yeah, what value is it adding? I remember when I went to get a job, and I think after I introduced myself, and then I went straight. At first, the other person was speaking offense, like, why would you do that? But I'm more obsessed about the value. Content copywriting is equal to, or it's equivalent to value. The simple definition of copywriting is value. They say don't be ambitious, but copywriting is ambitious. You're not writing it for, you're not writing it for anything. You're just being ambitious. You're selling someone. It's selling. So if you're going to sell a market, do you mean that if you want to sell your market, you come, you dance, you play, you forget the primary purpose of what you came to do? No, it's not so. You just go to the value, maybe after the money, or after what, because value is not just about money, but it's about what you're getting. The truth is, I think, for example, LinkedIn, I know that there are some places where someone can come and rate you, and then a certain company would see you and then read the rates and then be able to employ you. That is value. We take it too far when we talk about value or selling things. We feel that it is money. It's not always about money, but at what is the customer getting, and then what is your brand also getting at the long run? If your brand is not getting anything, and even you're not getting anything, then there's a problem. And I'm just going to go very, very quick because of the time. Then for every copywriting, we have the elements, we have how persuasive is this content, and on the elements we have what I call the headlines and slogans, and then we have the structure, the your company tagline, and your metaphors and similes. Sometimes you have to be a poet. You have to make these people laugh. They have to, you have to share in their stories. And then the last thing is it still selling? Because your headline and your slogan determines if this copy is selling. And how is the structure of your writing? It's not just about writing jargons. I know something, whenever you're coding, they tell you that a fewer quotes is more cheaper. Just the way, you want to, probably you want to go to British America, and then you now went and cycle, go through Bukuru, people that stay in Jos, you move round. Like you can just from Angwa, for example, you can just drive and go to them. No, you felt like, okay, let me follow around Lamingo, come through Rayfield, go to Bukuru, come back. That is not copywriting. When they say go to terminus, you're going to pick the shortest way. It's cheaper it's cheaper on your own site, and it's cheaper on your consumer, because you're selling to your consumers. So it's cheap. You're moving. You're going on your own side of being cheap. Is you're just writing it straightforward, and then on your own consumer side, you're selling. He's understanding. I used to tell my brother, Reverend fathers and barristers, lawyers are the people that like the longest English in the whole world. Like, just go straight to the point. No, this young man will not. He will pick big Latin words, carry Greek. And I remember giving me his first project to read. To be honest, if he's even here on this meeting, I ended up not reading it, because I was just having headache. I just dropped it. Like, it's the lesser it is, the lesser your structures are, the higher you sell. And when you're talking about persuasion, are people liking what you're doing? Is it socially proved? How consistent are you? And then, is your writing carrying authority? Because the truth is, when you want to sell, I'm still feeling bad for not being able to share that video, but I believe when the guy came in to talk, he just said, "Hey children, hey babies," and then they were crying, all of them. Then they shut up. So, are you just having that authority? People would say you are bragging. Yes, copywriting is boasting. If you can't boast of your authority, then you're not writing a copy. And then, how scarce are your words? Are your words carrying scarcity? You want to write, I think let's just pick a sentence on hello everyone. Instead of you to just say hello everyone, I believe that if I say hello everyone that is on this meeting knows that I'm referring to each one of them. But I want to do that, and then I come in, I say hello everyone. Instead of saying hello everyone, I start going into the words. I say hello Mayokun, hello Sam, hello hello Esther, hello Olaide, hello Joy. Like, that is not copywriting. I think some forms of writing allow you to do that, but the higher the scarcity of your words, the more you sell. And I think, to be very, very brief, I would still talk about as a freelancer that I am, a freelancer copywriter. I think one place you could sell your works, or you could actually, get clients from are Fiverr, and it works just like our social media, the Facebook, because you have to create your and you have to create your profile, your pictures, and then you just have to keep contributing. Then the more people see what you're contributing, you have aspect, because I don't just sell copywriting there. As a software developer, I have gotten clients there, I've gotten websites I've worked on from Fiverr. So it's even for graphic. You're a good graphic designer, and then the only thing you do is you don't even know the platform to sell. I know Facebook, Twitter, they're all platforms to sell, but most of the times you have to go into a platform where you're supposed to meet your clients directly, or the brand directly. So for every body who has a skill, Fiverr is it's a very bulky bulky site where you can drop a whole lot of skills there. And believe me, the truth is, I intend to, probably as before, you know the year runs out, hold a training for people on how to use Fiverr, and then get clients for writers. As a writer, it's not just to come and write on Facebook and get likes. No, at least you can sell those writings. And as a graphic designer, a web developer, a content writer, a whole lot that you can be when it comes to creativity. We will be, I will try and see possible means of having classes where I can get to teach people how to use it, how to manage it, and then how to, get people to buy what you do. And I don't know, but for every other thing, I think I've set the basic, because copywriting is a whole lot, and I can spend a whole day talking about copywriting. But I don't know if anyone has questions um, that needs to be answered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sonia, for the presentation so far. If anyone has any question, please just type it at the chat room, and then we'll read it out here. Well, I actually have a question.
Okay.
So copywriting, and okay, before I ask my question, the founder of Jos Tech Girls is here, Loretta Jugu, and we want her to just say a few words before we answer any other questions.
Okay.
Okay, I think let me put
Hi
okay,
everyone.
we're waiting for okay.
Yeah, can you hear
Hi,
me?
Miss Loretta.
Hi.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, so far it's been
Thank
really
you for
interesting
joining.
hearing you moderate. Yeah, I've been here.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. And Jos Tech Girls is really, really amazing. I love what you are doing, and it's encouraging the female community to come together and at least learn technology. Thank you very much for the platform, Jos Tech Girls.
Thank you so much too.
All right. So we're just going to quickly answer questions for Sonia so that we can move on to the next speaker, if that's okay.
Okay. So I'm waiting. I haven't seen any question here, but I'm waiting if
Okay, let me
there's
just
any
go ahead with my
question.
question.
Yeah.
So is there a difference between copyright and content writing, or they're just the same thing, just different words?
Okay. Difference between content writing and copywriting.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, there's a huge difference. Just I've said, in content writing, it's writing for blogs, probably social media management on social medias, a whole lot. Okay, a blog. They are just like, they are always, I think. First, let me, on the differences, probably use the length. A copywriting is usually short, because you're just selling, while content writing, it's you, okay, for example, you're giving me your page probably to handle, and then I keep putting in content there. Probably I do it every day. The basic reason for okay the basic reason for copywriting is more about, let your consumers or let your clients know you. While for copywriting, they don't really have to know you. You're just going to sell to them. So copywriting determines trust. It has to be, content writing is a gradual process. You keep going. It has to carry a whole lot of trust. I have to believe you. Okay, I believe what you're doing before I think of, okay, do I really want to even invest with you? So far, I've been seeing your work, but copywriting is not like that. Copywriting is bringing this thing and convincing you to buy it. Okay, I have a laptop. I'm convincing you to buy the laptop. I'm not even here to tell you, okay, we are launching the laptop next week. You get it? Because that's what most of the times content writing do. Content writing is, I just call it, for you to build trust. Even though the both of them, they have to be trust, but that the copywriting, the content writing determines, it's a gradual process. I don't really know if it has to go with a whole lot of action to it, but it's just about simple, we are these, it's a gradual process. While for copywriting, it's more about persuasion. How am I persuading you to get this thing? So, as I've said, you have to balance creativity with call to action. Your work is creative, fine. Is it selling? So you find out, but most of the times, content writing, it can just be creative and they like it. But copywriting, is it selling? If it's not selling, then it's something. Yeah.
Okay, so it's safe to say that the Nike slogan, "Just do it," is actually copywriting.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I understand. Thank you very much.
All right.
So there are no questions, or is there any other question from anyone? Because we're waiting for questions before we move on to the next speaker. Okay.
I think there
All
are no
right, it seems
questions.
like no one has a question.
Yeah.
So that means everyone. Okay, someone was asking if you are going to share the slides, maybe later on.
Okay, sure. Sure, I will do that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I will do that. All right.
All right, in the absence of no questions. So thank you so much, Sonia, for the explosive presentation, content copywriting. Yes, copyright. I've learned a lot personally, and I'm really, really happy to hear you and to see your
It's a
presentation.
pleasure.
Thank you so much.
All right. It's also, I'm grateful being here and sharing.
Okay, but before you go, Jos Tech Girls, do they offer any course in content writing or copywriting so that maybe anyone here that wants to go into that can
Sure.
just sign up for the course?
Okay. We do, because Just Tech Girls is not just basically coding. It's not software. Tech is huge. When I say tech is huge, digital marketing, a whole lot, product managers. So we do a whole lot here. So we anybody that wants to enroll can get to us probably through a message on our social media platforms, Just Tech Girls, and we would answer and then probably give you, just connect you to the right thing you want to do.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this session. So we're going to move on to our next speaker. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
All right. Okay, we need to have Ivy for the next session. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Thank you so much for joining us. You were supposed to go on first, but then we had to bring in Sonia. But thank you so much for joining us for this workshop, and we are really excited to have you. But before you go into your presentation, please just introduce yourself to the audience so that they would get to know you more and what you're about to present.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I am Esther Ivy Felix. I am a content creator. I'm a digital marketer, and then basically that's what I do. I am into digital marketing, and when I talk about content creation, content is wide. We have content videos, we have writing, and all of that. So I do more of the writing, content writing,
Yeah.
and I also do copywriting, what Sonia just discussed, and digital marketing and all of
Yeah.
that. And I'm a writer with Opera News, and I also work with some other organizations, and I blog too. I'm also a blogger.
So I heard that you are also a poetress.
Oh, really? I write poems, but that's once in a while, and it's been a while I wrote poems and all. But then that's
Oh,
something I
wow.
do.
All right.
Yes.
Well, maybe one day we'll like to see your work so that we can appreciate your poetry side.
That would be cool. That would be nice.
All right. So we won't waste any time. So I'll just let you have the floor and have your presentation so that the audience can prepare their questions.
All right then. Okay, so I'll be good evening everyone once again. It's a pleasure to be here. I'll be talking on content writing. And Sonia just touched on copywriting. Copywriting is under content writing. It's a topic under content writing. And then for you to be an effective copywriter, you have to know the rudiments of content writing. So first of all, we all know content is very much what we see online, what we see everywhere is content. It just depends on how you use it. So content is someone says content is food, the online food, because you can't just go on the net now and then you're checking for something. You're checking for maybe food itself and you don't see anything at all. You have to leave. So content is always there for you, and that is why at the moment everybody is going digital, and having your content online will actually make you not to be left behind. So we have why content is very important in this modern day is because we're all digital. Most businesses are going online. The manual way of selling things is far becoming a cake. So you need to put your things online. If not, you'll be saying you're just a business person and then you don't have even maybe a social media platform, because I know that owning website may be more expensive, but having a Facebook page is cheaper. So we need to put content on all of these to be able to meet your target audience. So I'll be talking on content writing basically. So content writing is how is like okay is a strategic way of putting your content into words that will attract the audience or consumer or client, whatever word you want to use. It needs to be attractive. You can't just write something. You need to be able to target an audience. You need to target someone that wants to see what you're writing. You can't just be writing. So you need to have your audience in mind, have their feel, have an idea of their psychology. How would they take this writing? How would they take this write-off and stuff like that? So as a content writer, basically, as a content writer, you need to have, I know Sonia touched on headlines, having a good headline for your write-up. So first of all, we know that before you get to an article, the headline has to be catchy enough to pull you. You can't just read something. If you see a headline that is boring, somehow you're like, this is not worth the read. So you need to get a headline that will intrigue people to read what you're writing. If not, all your efforts will be meaningless. That's one of the issues I have with writing with opera news. Usually they want a catchy headline, and then aside having a catchy headline will actually drive clicks and then get your money and stuff like that. But then they also don't want a headline that will mislead your audience. Maybe use a headline that is totally different from what your write-up is talking about by misleading them, and that's what we call clickbait in news writing. So you need to get a headline that suits what you're talking about, but then not a headline that is just over loud. And then when they just read it, they're like, oh, you just misled us. We're not supposed to read it. And usually at Opera News, when you write an article and use a headline that is not meant for it, people usually report your article and your article gets rejected. So you need to use a headline that is worth it. And then another thing you have to do after getting to the headline is the first thing you have to get set. And then the body, we're talking about the first three sentences in your write-up. So the first three sentences, after getting to the headline, maybe five ways of staying healthy. And we all understand that we're in a pandemic era and everyone just wants to stay safe, right? And probably you use your tags and everything, the article is ranked on Google. So once you check it up, maybe it's among the first 10 articles you see there. And you're like, let me read this thing. The headline alone has already sold out. Then you want to see what the body is talking about, the body of the article. And then you just read the first three headlines, first three sentences, sorry. And you're like, what's this article talking about? And you just get bored. You don't want to read it again. So writers, as a professional content writer, you should be able to grip your audience by not just the sentence and your headline. You should go forward because we want to know what this article is talking about. Get a glimpse of, even if it's 1,000 words, I don't want to be bored reading this 1,000 words. Let me see, even if some details, your details of your article should be in the first three sentences of your write-up. And then you'll be able to write three good sentences that talk about staying healthy. And someone will be like, yeah, this article is worth reading, is worth my time. Because so many people, one of the problems that so many people have is trying to engage your audience in what you're writing. And then some bloggers have issues with that. We know it's not just about, you're a blogger, you want your articles to rank high on Google. But then how are you able to engage your audience? That's why I said you need to deal with their psychology, and then so that you can put out what is necessary. And before writing, let me say this, you should know what your audience wants. At times we just want to, you have a flair for, let me say, fashion, right? And you want to write about a particular wear. And somehow, in a particular weather condition, that particular wear is not necessary. So writing about it at that moment will not really be it. So you need to get what they want check, there are a number of sites you can check what your audience wants to see at the moment and write what's trending. Okay, we actually learn. I have to use Offerings again because I write there more often. We write articles based on trends. Several times when you write what is not trending, you get frustrated like, how will I write something like it's getting just 10 clicks? At times it will have reach, meaning that people see it but they don't read it. So you feel literally depressed, like after all my efforts, how many words, 2,000 words, all your research and everything. So you need to be able to find out what your audience needs. And another thing is, if you want to be an effective content writer, you need to carry out a research. So basically, you want to write about, let me use the coronavirus. And then we know there are a lot of rumors, there are lots of stories, there are a lot of several stories around the virus. Either some are true, some are not true, legit, illegit. And then we know, okay, first of all, that's the trending topic at the moment. But if you want to write something about coronavirus, definitely you have to be very factual. Your audience wants to see how original and authentic your article is for it to be given more credit. So you need to carry out a lot of research. And while carrying out your research, you'll find out that there are some facts that you don't need, you throw them out. Some that you need, you put them together intelligently so that they can make complete sense. So doing thorough research will also make you a credible content writer. Don't just write from your head. Okay, you're talented, you're a writer, but then you have to give it your best. Let it be that these people know what you're doing. Let it be that people see that you know what you're doing, not just that, okay, I want to write, and you write because you feel you know how to use words. And then another thing is, don't use so much big grammar. I always say this. You need to know the audience you're you're targeting. At times we want to talk about even how to stay healthy. Everybody wants to stay healthy. So you know that generally your audience is everybody. Not everyone can speak or understand the higher level of English. Use simple grammar to convey your message properly. You don't have to be very bossy in your language and all. Just make it simple and clear, something that we can understand. Because maybe you're talking about tips on how to stay healthy. These are tips, they are not stories. So you have to be very punchy with your tips and all. And then talk about the use of big grammar. And also, very important, maybe for the bloggers, and it also works in some cases for social media managers. When you want to convey your message, your article, when you're done writing and all, something about using a picture, a high quality image. So I'll go back to Opera News where I work. Um, there are times that people want to write something about history, and then the pictures are kind of blurry, right? We know, okay, the time the incident happened and stuff like that, there are no quality cameras for those kind of pictures. And when one writes that kind of article and publishes it, article gets rejected because this is going forward. We need something clear. We need a high quality image. So if you know what you're talking about does not have a high quality image, then just flash it. If you're talking about something back in the days and all of that, but then you can use it in the body of your write-up. You don't use it as the featured image because that's what everybody's going to see. Like when you're talking about when they see the link of the article, the featured image is what comes up. Don't use a blurry image as your featured image. Get a quality picture because it is believed that 94% of high quality articles with high quality images actually rank. So you're not just writing a good headline. You might write a good headline and I'll just see the image and I'm like, what the hell is this? Or the image might not even be relating to what you're talking about. And then there's something I always say, even as a blogger, and maybe you write a story, and you're thinking of an image to use. I always have that problem too. I'm thinking of an image to use, right? Don't necessarily use an image that once I see it, I already know what the story is talking about. Because it will make people to, okay, I've already seen it. What's the point of reading it? Hope you get. So use an image that will kind of create a question in their mind, like, okay, let me see what this is talking about actually. So don't just see something that they'll see and let me pass. So you're trying to create, I told you you're working with the psychology, how you think, the mental capacity of your audience. So you should also think like them, put yourself in that box and think like them, and make use of an image that will will hit a question to them, like, let me see what this article is talking about. And then talking about, Sonia made mention of the length of your article. It's not necessary that your article must be long, depending on the context. If you're doing a thorough research on whatever you're writing about, I think the length will be worthwhile, but not just writing, filling your article with words that maybe, because usually what I do is if I'm reading an article and I just find so much, maybe the second paragraph, the third paragraph, they're more or less saying the same thing. I skip it. I just look at it in my eyes and skip. So you need to, don't just fill your article with words, because let it be that it's of length. Meaningful words. That's why a research is very necessary, so that you don't keep repeating yourself when you're saying it's good to stay healthy, and then in another paragraph you're now still emphasizing the need of staying healthy, and it just comes out that okay, this person doesn't know what he's doing actually. They're just trying to make repetition to increase the length of your article, and it doesn't really make much sense. But length of an article is very important when you know what you're doing. That's based on context. Another thing is when you're when you're writing your article, you should be able to how do I put it? I said understand the needs of your audience, right? You should be able to push those words in a way that they understand. Like there's something about, okay, I had a class with some guys on campaign and all, having a campaign online, and then they were talking about us supposed to speak on storytelling as a tool for campaign. And we know that having a campaign, you can't just come out and say you're having a campaign. You need to know there's a story behind everything. So putting down your story effectively, it's not just about, I said, having your good headline, your pictures and everything. Your words should be interesting. You know that you're not trying to, in a serious article like 5 ways to stay healthy during this COVID-19 pandemic era, you're not trying to be funny. You're just trying to give us the tips. So you should know when articles are actually supposed to be very intriguing. You know, facts too can be intriguing. Like when you say 99% of people, that's for example, will die of COVID-19 if they don't practice safety measures and all. Just use the facts to intrigue people. But then it's also important that when you're writing, I'm not talking about an article on health. When you're writing an article normally, you need to put yourself in the story, put yourself in the character of your audience, and then put it in a way that, okay, this thing will affect them, would it will speak to them. You're not just writing because you know you can write, you know you're very talented with writing, you're talented with words. You should be able to speak to your audience, and that is very, very important. And another thing is when you're done writing your article for for bloggers, social media managers will not necessarily need it, because as a social media manager, you're not supposed to come and write. We're not expecting you to write several words to talk about something. Like I work for a forex company and I'm handling their social media accounts. Basically, what I do is I know that they're talking about forex, and even though I don't have a full idea of what they're talking about, I just went online, did my research, and then I checked their site, found out their activities, and then what I do. You don't blog, for a social media manager, you don't put up several words. At times it could just be a sentence, and I use the hashtag, and I've posted for the morning. It has passed the message. But as a social media manager, one thing is you should also use a picture that drives the message. Like I even for their because I handle all their social media platforms. I don't use maybe for Twitter now we know that we can effectively write something without adding a picture. But I also add a picture because sometimes it's very normal for we to just see something and skip the writing. But once you see the picture, you can scroll back and say, let me see what this picture is talking about. So making use of images that capture the mind of people is very important. And then to be an effective content writer, you have to be consistent. Like you can't beat about the bush. This is something that okay, when I was done with school and all, I I had a flair for writing and all. Initially I wanted studying mass comm to um to actually study mass comm. My dad said no. So I was like, okay, okay. He was like, if it's mass comm, I'm not paying your school fees. But at that moment, I felt that I didn't know what to do. But that period, I didn't stay at home for 1 year. I got admission immediately, but you know how UJ is now, federal universities generally. You stay before they will not enter the next year. Those in private universities have already started first semester or they're entering second semester. So I was at home and then I just found out my aunt actually she discovered when I was quite younger that I had a flair for writing and all. I mean, what I was writing was just not I was not planning to write a professional something, right? I was just planning to write, okay, let me write a story, anything that goes on, let me write, no professionalism, like it was just there. So I had to go to the internet and brush up myself. And then this thing about consistency is what I want to talk about. So I started writing for like okay 1 month very consistently. And then later, somehow, I just relaxed. I'm like, I'm you're on holiday now. Most of your friends just graduated from school. Let this how many months you have to stay at home. So I just relaxed. And then somehow, someone DM'd me. I don't know how, but the person sent me a message and was like, she needs this. She needs a write up for her blog on the homepage to talk about her organization. And trust me, that was the first professional work I was actually given, and I'd not gotten into the university by that time. And in that, I was not groomed to practice that professional way of writing, and the normal way of writing I'd already slacked. So I was just wondering, how do I go about this thing? How do I go about this? I was like, okay. And then I just told her, all right, I can do it. Like the confidence in me, and she could believe that I can do it better than maybe even the best person should have mentioned. So I now went to the net, checked. It's like, God, is this as hectic as this? And then I told her how urgent does she need it, and she said, 2 weeks. That 2 weeks, I know I slept for maybe usually I don't even sleep up to 8 hours, like 5 hours, and I'm done my sleep. So that was when I started bringing myself to sleep late because I was trying to read it and you know what motivated me to actually take this gig from this woman was because the pay was high. And then you know how someone meets you and the person doesn't even know that and this person just graduated from secondary school. They'll be addressing you as ma. At that time, so I was like, no, I cannot just force somebody's hand like this. I have to show myself. So I spent 2 weeks. I was able to, at least, I know I tried. For that first work, I tried. I was able to learn this thing. And then at that moment, I was able to learn how to be consistent, not just by, okay, I deliver her work for her. And she was very impressed. But then I was like, what if another job comes? What if you have to learn this thing? So every day now, what I do is I just pick up a topic write something that I know I can talk about, and I write, do an extensive research, I write about it. I may not necessarily finish an article that day, but I'll keep it
Yeah.
and keep doing an extensive research to the next day. So consistency is key. Had it been at slack, maybe I would have lost interest for it. You have the passion to write as a writer, but if you slack, at times the ideas just stay there. The ideas don't even move. But there are times that I can just
Mm,
see looking at somebody and I just get an idea of what to write or what we're talking about and to get an idea of what to write. So if you train yourself to be consistent, you train your mind to be elastic. So having at that
yeah.
moment before then, my mind was very static, like I just have to think this way. But if you keep doing it, you stretch your mind. You know that there's no limit to where your mind can go. You can use your mind to think fast, to think deeper than you can imagine. So consistency, we can't overemphasize that fact, but you need to be consistent as a writer. And another thing I would like to talk about is that as a content writer, you have to be original. You have to be original. We know you're getting your facts from somewhere, but
Yeah.
it's also important to give credit to, maybe you got it from someone's article. Give credit to that person. You don't have to plagiarize an article. I know
Mm,
that's one of the issues I had before Opani signed me. I had a very terrible issue with somebody. I know I'd written an article that trended, and then blogs copied the article. People on the Opera News platform copied the article. And like, how crazy it is when someone copies your article word for word, the picture, everything. I was like, are you serious? I'd never known that it could be this bad. I was pained. But somehow I went back to think to myself, I'm like, okay, if they actually copied this article, I was telling my mom, I said, I'm actually better than them for them to copy from me. Like the way I just wrote it. And that's wrong to plagiarize. If you want to copy someone's article or make emphasis on something, you should pick maybe this sentence or something and give credit to the person. So what I did, usually when you see such articles, you can report them, but their reporting system is not, it's not really it. But I reported it and I was angry. At that period, I wanted to leave them before I checked my email so that they signed me on a call. But then you have to be original, authentic. People will not people will not value you if they find out that you're always copying from this person. You can't, there'll be a time where you have to be tested, and maybe those
yeah.
materials will not be near. It's just you and your brain, and it's be like, okay, what can you offer? That's what's going to be. What can you offer? And then to dawn on everyone that actually this person doesn't know what he's doing or she's doing, being that the person you've been copying from is not there at the moment, and then also copying from the net. We know that, okay, we have the internet as our run to, like, it's very close to us, but
Mm, yeah.
it's good that if you really want to write about something from the net, I prefer you read it, comprehend it. Like when you comprehend, you're able to digest it and even break it into other pieces, and you can bring it together to make more sense than what you saw on the net. After all, people that put that thing on the net, they also have a brain like you. So copying words like that does not make you original. If you want to sell as a content writer, you have to be very original and authentic. No plagiarism, just be you. You have to make research. I know about, I said, having to run a very thorough research so that you know what you're talking about. But then copying word for word is not it. And then um, another thing you should be able to do is to put, you should be able to add, I talk about not just your featured image, the pictures you use in your image too should be of high quality. I talk about that. And then they must, how do I put it? They must relate to your article, and your article has to have, when you're talking about writing now, there's the body, the middle, and all of that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure let me assume we all know what that means, right? But then there's something very, very crucial. Aside the fact that you've made your article, you've made your catchy headline, you've made sure your sentences, the first three sentences, that's the first paragraph, is legit and carries enough details. We shouldn't mess up how we present our information at the middle of your article. That's where content is. Like that is the content we're talking about. So the moment you try to play around, just you're not here, you're not there, it makes your work not credible. And me, when I see some stuff online, I'm like, okay, this person doesn't know what he's doing. He just made us come and see. We have viewed it, but it's not a credible article. So you shouldn't. We know you've done a lot of work trying to impress us to come and read it. Then you should be able to make what we're reading worth it. I can't just waste my time coming to open your article and then it's something else. So you should be able to make your article worthwhile. And then another thing is infographics. Let me talk a little about that. Infographics are okay. I was talking about maybe an example of an article with 5 tips on how to stay healthy during this pandemic era. One of the issues as content writers we have is not just creating your own pictures, not just having quality pictures, but also creating your pictures. Thank God there is Canva now, and almost everyone should know how to use Canva. It's very easy to use. You can make use of that for your infographics. So what I mean by infographics are yeah, we know what graphics are. So let me use the example of the 5 tips on how to stay healthy during this pandemic era. So the infographics could just be a picture of maybe you have the 5 tips already outlined there. Number one, wash your hand. Number two, this. So once I see the picture, the infographic, I already know, okay, this is what this article is talking about. Let me now read more and know what it's talking about. So talking about um, content writing based on having your article rank rank on Google and all of that. That is a very broad topic, and so I'll just be picking a few things that I would like us to know on content writing, SEO basically. Um, so we know that one of the things that you don't just want to be a blogger for the name of it. You own a blog and you're not making money from it because the situation is tough. We all need money. So we don't just want to be a blogger for the name of it. So how can you push this thing to create income for you? And that is how, okay, talking about how your article can rank, how once you, okay, it's not just by following those rules I gave about letting your article be credible and all of that. There are times that an article is actually very legit, it's credible, you followed all these rules I've given, but then it's not ranking on Google. It's not ranking on Google. And sometimes most people just write for the passion of writing. But when you want to channel this writing to how you can make money, that's when some guys actually get frustrated. They're like, I didn't know this thing is like this. But then as a starter, I just want to say that you shouldn't go for the money first.
Yeah.
You should be able to show us what you can do. Because I know as a person, I've done a number of free gigs. Like when I started, I did a lot. And then my friend Joey always says, um, just don't be crazy about the money, right? You all need money. Everyone needs money, but then show us what you have. That's one of the issues we have with guys coming to volunteer. Sometimes you post something about a job, right, and they're not aware that it's for volunteering. They just think, okay, I'll get paid, and I think for you to actually learn, you have to volunteer. Nobody's going to employ someone that doesn't know anything because you just want the money. You need to have the basics. And so volunteering is very, very important. I know a lot of young people don't want to hear that, but that's one of the things that very important. You have to learn these things, and we know the economy is hard. Though. I know how we've done free stuff, and my friend will tell me, there's this person that wants us to write this. And when you now hear the pay is below what you actually want. But then at times you have to consider, and there are times that you have to just fast. Life is in stages. When you're starting, you can take free things very well. And then later, when you know you've learned enough, you've learned very well, you can now fix your price. You can't just fix a price when you don't even know what you're doing. And then someone will just come and disturb you, and you come and see that it's just the name you have. You don't have anything upstairs. So volunteer first, get the basics, understand it before you now come and fix your price. And then when you're fixing your price as a starter, you should be able to consider, because you don't want to chase people away. We know the value you're giving, but then if you're not known yet, you don't want to say how much, and you're not say 50,000, maybe. Let me just say, you say 5,000 per paragraph, you'll be like, hey, for 10 paragraphs, 5K. So that's how much are they going to pay you? Who are you? Who even knows you? You know, that kind of thing. It can actually discourage you. So you should be able to build yourself. And when you're fixing your price, consider others. Consider the fact that you're still a starter, and then you're new to this game. Look at other people, and look up to other people as maybe your mentors in that industry, and see how they're doing it. Maybe some of them might be charging maybe 70K, and you're like, I want to be like you when I grow up. You've not grown yet. Keep pushing. Life is in stages. I can't just start. I wouldn't have, like, when I just finished from secondary school, I wouldn't have just said I want to I want to be a content writer, 50K, and I don't have the basics. You know how I had to have sleepless nights learning how to put that lady's work in order to be professional. And I think that has to be my best work so far, because I had to use a lot. It required a lot of mental stress, a lot of stress actually, but I thank God that it went well and it was okay. So talking about having your article rank, you have to make use of inbound links, maybe links. You're talking about maybe I can't share a video now, but then I'm sure you can understand what I'm trying to say. Talking about inbound links, you have you're talking about health, coronavirus, and you already have articles on the net that are relating to what you're talking about. You can add those links into your article. You can embed them so that while maybe you're seeing something about that article, Google can bring up your own article relating to that. So as far as what you're saying is making sense and is relating, to come up with that, and then you can your article can come up, and it will may not necessarily rank. Just consistent, keep pushing, and it will come up. And somehow, as far as your details are legit, someone will recommend it. Someone I know a friend that he wrote an article on, what was that thing? I don't know. It's about self-esteem, and he wrote that article 3 years back. Just read the article and left it, and then somehow I came across it after, like, just recently, and I was like, wow, so this article is still here. And then we're checking something, the article came up among, when you're checking something on the net, the first 10 articles are the ones that Google feels are of relevance to you. And that article was number 4. And he said, actually, that what he did, there are times you write, okay, how I wrote back then is not how I'm writing now, so you keep upgrading. So he said he wrote this article and kept on. At times you just see, okay, you go and edit it, upgrade it, and then that was how the article was able to come up. But it's also advisable, we are open to learning, and we can always learn, unlearn, relearn all the things we need to learn. So it's very important that you you learn basically, because what he did was he was able to learn. I'm sure when he wrote that article at first and published it on the net, it wasn't ranking. And if you had left it that same way, it wouldn't have still ranked. So upgrading yourself, like I always do that. I have two sites basically. And then the other site, I know I wrote something last 2 years on parenting, and somehow someone saw the article and I was like, who wrote this thing? And they sent me the link. Someone saw it and I was like, I know the person that wrote this article and stuff like that. So when I opened the article, I was like, is this what people are talking about? Something that I wrote since I was still a small child now when I wrote it. And I went to go and edit it, put in more sense into it. And another person now asked for the article, and the person was like, this made sense. And I was asking myself, if I hadn't edited this thing, this is how people be seeing my childish mind inside. But then we're always open to learn. We learn what we're talking about. We always learn, relearn, upgrade yourself, because you understand that whining. I always tell myself, whining
Wow.
digital world, and everything is changing. The world is not waiting for you to adopt. You are the one that is supposed to adopt it by yourself. You have to be flexible. There's some people that maybe once this trend is coming, you're now, and once a new trend is coming, you're still trying to get hold of the trend that has already passed. That is not how it is. You need to be fast learners. Like a lot of things that we talk about now may not be valuable in the next 5 years. But you should be open to learn, be flexible, be able to switch, because
Mm-hmm.
um, one of the things that people who are not digitally inclined will lack is the fact that they are too rigid to adopt a new way of life. And somehow I always see some people, like all these civil servants now, most of them are just used to coming to the office to sit down and just and go home, and they collect salary. At least they've worked now. But then things are changing. There'll be a time that, okay, we don't even need you to come and sit down in the office and be wasting our money and pay you salary. We don't need it. We need people who can provide ideas, and those people definitely lose their jobs if they're not ready or willing to upgrade themselves to another level where, okay, I can just give my ideas. Working from home this period for me has really been, it has opened my eyes to see a lot of things. But this period I've worked from home more often. I think like it's more about what you can give. It's not about, I'll just come and sit down in the office and sign attendance. Nobody's looking at that one now. Just put in your best, put in your ideas. How can your ideas solve this problem? You're working to solve a problem. How can your ideas solve this problem? And that's just it. It's all about your mind, your brain game. So working in the digital system has to do with your mind basically. And we are
Yeah.
faced with several problems, and if we are able to at least find a solution, the solution may not necessarily solve the problem, but it can lead to another solution that will solve the problem. At times problems are very, very, how do I put it now? They're very large, and then we need to come up with several solutions that will link them up to bring a proper solution for the problem. So we should be able to think fast, because even as a content writer, Google on its own keeps changing their policies. So what might work today might not work tomorrow. So we should be open to, okay, let me see what's happening now. Let me see what I should do to upgrade myself, because we are not yet there and we're still trying to fit in into the system. And while you're trying to fit into the system, another system is coming up. So you can't just say, oh, this system has failed us, so they've left us. You have to move with the system. And that's basically what it entails to be a content writer, and you could make money from it if you know what you're doing. So it's just about you being original and authentic. But then you need to start from somewhere. And because
True.
nobody's going to give their money to someone that doesn't know what he's doing. You need to be
Right.
legit, because
Thank
I
you
have a
so much
thank you.
for the very, very amazing workshop. Okay, time is fast spent. If anyone has any question for Ivy, please, you could just drop it at the chat section and then we'll ask her. But before anybody asks the question, I have a question actually. So maybe you could just take a minute or two to just answer the question quickly before we round up. So I dabble into content writing too sometimes when I'm free. So I noticed that for Nigerians, we actually attracted to funny content than serious content.
True.
And sometimes there are some brands that don't want you to project funny content. But that's what most, like 80% of Nigerians, that's what we are attracted to, funny content. When we see something funny, we want to read it and share it. So if you are working for a brand that wants more formal content, but their audience is actually they want a funny content, but the brand has told you I want a formal content, not a funny content. How can you work with that?
Okay, I work for one brand like that, and I'm not really into the funny whatever. But when I find out that okay, this is what my audience wants, then I go for it. But one thing is very important. You're working for a brand, not yourself. So you're under them, you're under their authority. But you can also chip in your funny content because you know what your audience wants. You can chip in your funny content in a formal way. Hope you get. You're not trying to just make it look like you joke. You're trying to drive your message too. Because this brand is out for money, so they're not
Yeah.
making it joke. So you should put your content in a funny way. I also do that too. But I know if I just keep doing jokes, they'll come and meet me like, what's up now? Is it jokes we paid you to be doing? So everybody, if they want comedians, they know where to get comedy now, not on a brand page. You know what the brand stands for. So you can still reach your consumer by being formal, but you know how to do it. At times you can even use stories that intrigue them, make stories about how that product has helped Mr. A and the problem Mr. A was going through and how Mr. A was able to get out of that problem with that product. But it must not necessarily be funny. Just state a fact. And we like facts. Once we see it, we're able to know what it stands for. So it must not be
Yes.
funny. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for everything. Seems like no one has a question. That means everybody understood everything about not really everything, because you gave us some tips, but I'm sure everyone understood what you were trying to say. So thank you very much, Ivy. And we hope to see some of your works, because the site where of your article so that we can check it out and read it and spread the word about what you do. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today, and we really appreciate all our speakers today, Sonia, Ivy, and also joining us. All right.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so I think Grace, thank you so much, Grace, for that wonderful moderation today, and a big thank you
Yo.
to our speakers, Sonia, Atsen, and Esther, Evie, Felix. We are indeed very grateful for the presentations. And I also want to say big thanks to Jos Tech Girls for collaborating with us to make this possible today. Also, a big thank you to our sponsors, our global sponsors for today's event, Google for Startups and Silicon Valley Bank. Thank you for what you do for Startup Grind at a global level. And I also want to say on behalf of the Startup Grind Just team, a very big thank you to our local sponsors and partners. And once again, I would mention Jos Tech Girls, thank you. Thank you to Hand Up Nigeria. Thank you to PICTDA, Plateau State Information and Communication Technology Development Agency. Thank you to Smart Web Nigeria Limited. Thank you to Blue Whales Nigeria Limited. Thank you to the Girls Code Initiative. Thank you to Standard Business Operating Systems. Thank you to Galaxy Digital. Thank you to KTMB Entertainment. Thank you to Yapli Network. Thank you to Osoft Pay. Thank you to Wilver Global Resources Limited and everyone that has been part of our journey. This is how we will be coming to the end of the 2020 SG Women Month, which is actually a month where we are celebrating women leaders, business women, entrepreneurs, educators, inventors from all walks of life. And we've had a series of events in the course of this month of June, 5 events in all. And this is how we bring it all a wrap today. Okay, so our website, like you all know, is still www.startupgrind.com/Jos. And you can always follow us on social media at Startup Grind Jos. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. We are available on all handles. Okay, so right now, I would say thank you all for coming. And the event for today is officially coming to an end, or it has officially ended.
Every year, Startup Grind hosts our SG Women Leaders Month, proudly recognizing the accomplishments of successful women leaders all over the world. These women are founders, venture capitalists, engineers, executives, educators, and more who represent our community all around the world. This month's SG Women Month is proudly presented by Google for Startups and Silicon Valley Bank.